I will say every year, I forget how exhausting it is until Saturday happens and it's over very swiftly, and it's like a whirlwind of a day. So much excitement that you can't remember it. Like, I don't remember what happened. I don't remember what I saw. I know what I didn't see. I know that there are tons of things I never found that I even looked on the map in advance, and I was like, we're gonna go to this place, and then we never did. And I'm kind of like trying not to beat myself up over it, but there were so many booths that I wanted to intentionally go to. I even talked about going to. Never found my way to North Bay Fiber. I was so prepared. Somehow never got there. I also never found the Foster Sheep Farm vendor, who I really wanted to pop in and say hello to and squish their yarn. So that didn't happen. And then what did happen was I picked up, I'll just get this out of the way because you're probably interested to know what I bought. I picked up my Chained Oblivion, which is a inside out cable cardigan, worked from the bottom up. Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you're having a really good day so far. If you're new here, my name's Taylor. I come to you from Baltimore City, Maryland, and here on my channel I feature content that's generally focused on knitting and spinning. In this week's episode of what I call the Thread to Mend podcast, I'm going to sit down and share with you my sweet little dog here, which I think you can see. The project I'm currently working on, the project I just finished, the things that I brought home from the New York State Sheep and Wool Festival, and I think that's it. I think that and I might get into the 3 Teti Lutsak patterns that I purchased impulsively because I need them in my wardrobe. So, where should we start? I'm in my living room. Brian is sick in bed, and I felt like down here, I don't feel like I'm being listened to, even though he can probably hear me, but he's not feeling well. He is taking it easy today. I think he'll be fine. It's just a stomach bug, maybe, I don't know. But last weekend was the New York State Sheep and Wool Festival. It was loads of fun. Very exhausting. I always forget how tired I am by 3:30 p.m. on Saturday. I think I went into every barn, but I somehow never found multiple booths I intentionally planned to visit in advance. I was looking at the map, I was looking at the locations, I was telling Brian, like, we gotta go here, we gotta go there, and then I don't know how it happened, but we left the festival and I was like, I don't even remember finding this or that, including North Bay Fiber, who I talked about 2 weeks ago, wanting to purchase yarn from, and I never found their booth. And they have a brand new base. I'm sure they had it. I would have loved to see it. I think someone left a comment below in my previous video about that base of yarn and how excited they were for it to come out. I have no idea what it's like, and I never will. I'm just kidding. Hopefully they'll be at Maryland in May, and I'll be able to squish it and sniff it and get a sense of what that yarn is like, because I imagine it's very nice. And my cats are playing, so if you hear rumbling around the house, they're running up and down the basement steps, and I'm not sure if you hear it, but it's distracting me right now, so thought I'd let you know. I am gonna start with what I'm wearing. I really wanted to wear this shawl to Rhinebeck, but I got my flu shot the week before, Tuesday before the festival, and I was knocked out for 2 nights. I didn't knit a stitch of this shawl days before, you know, when I would have possibly had the time. And so it was about 2/3, maybe a little more done. I had just finished, I think, the first repeat of the lace chart, and I needed to work the remainder. So I brought it with me. I did not knit more than maybe 12 stitches the entire weekend. I was not with knitters during Rhinebeck weekend, which I would like to do one day. I would love to like travel with people who knit, because I didn't have the impulse to knit for a moment. Well, you know what it was? It's not them, it's me. I was just a little under the weather. Not sick with anything contagious, but I live with an autoimmune disease, and I manage it through diet and exercise, and I exclude wheat, which causes inflammation for me. And I was given a gluten-free treat at work, which I should have known better on Thursday, and I was just not feeling good. Thursday, Friday. By Saturday, I felt better. There were no bathroom emergencies on Saturday or after that, but I still don't feel good. I just feel tired and fatigued. So I finished this morning. I steam blocked it with my iron. I have not yet wet blocked it, but I very much adore this lace. I wish it weren't so variegated. You can see that the natural gray, I did alternate skeins so that it wouldn't be a stark contrast of like light and dark, but genuinely all my skeins had a little bit of light and dark throughout each of them. One was a little bit darker than the other, so I put that one to the end, and I'm very happy with it. The contrast in color is way brighter on camera than in real life, so it doesn't appear quite so stripy in person. I very much enjoy the asymmetrical shape of it. I feel like you can wear this shape of shawl like any way you want. I personally love to fold it over. When it's worn like this, it has more of like a two-tone effect than I anticipated, which is kind of cool. But I'm just really happy with the way the reverse stockinette is like brought into the lace pattern, and then the lace pattern just continues to this very plain and simple border. I'm very excited to share this finished shawl with you all. This is a asymmetrical triangle shawl that I knit using my own handspun. It's from a fleece that I purchased at a festival. It was a merino fin cross, and I hand combed that fleece on my Valkyrie extra fine hand combs. I spun it into a worsted spun 2-ply yarn. It came out, I think, to a DK weight, and I started just the most simple, basic, very clean edge reverse stockinette asymmetrical shape. And then there's this teeny tiny little chart of lace that blends the reverse stockinette into a lace chart. And there's some variegation to the natural gray fiber that was undyed that you see here. I did alternate skeins throughout so it wouldn't be a stark contrast, but I didn't alternate the entire length of every skein, just for about like this much space between the balls I alternated. So it does seem that there's like not, I don't know. I mean, it definitely looks like it fades. Like it's almost an intentional fade. This skein was a bit darker than the other ones. And I kind of sort of knew that when I started, that I was working with maybe the lighter of the three. And I kind of intentionally faded it, but I don't typically match lace or cables with variegated tones because it can be a little harder to see the lace like on camera. In person, it's way more visual, the lace pattern. I feel like on camera it's not picking up very well. This was so fun to knit. I loved the first half. Starting the lace was easy because it's very simple. The pattern is very intuitive. I think it's like a 16 stitch repeat that I separated out with stitch markers to make it super easy. I really like to use stitch markers between repeats to keep my brain in check through each, I don't know, portion of the entire row. So that was nice and easy breezy. I mean, that's not to say I didn't have to rip back like 10 rows at one point because I needed the right amount of stitches for my row to make the repeat work the most effectively. That was before I kind of established the knitting, the lace section of the shawl. So I knit and then unknit and then reknit multiple times. The first was just the planning stage. I hadn't quite pinpointed that. I thought I would just jump to the next and it didn't make sense to do that. So I put a lot of thought into this and making sure it was the most perfect lace shawl that I could have possibly made as of right now. And part of that is, I'll show you the increase edge. So it just looks perfect in my opinion. I just think it's the most neat and again, intuitive lace chart. I'm also really happy with the bottom hem. I like the way it looks. It looks like there almost isn't one, but there also is one. So it's like really straight and streamlined and tidy. It's not kind of like wavy from the lace. So I'm really happy with this. I cannot wait to wear it to the office. I've been carrying this to work on my commute like for weeks and weeks. So everyone that rides the shuttle with me who's seen me working on this, or people in my office who see me pull it in and out of my cubicle, they're gonna know that I'm wearing my finished shawl, and that will be fun. Shawls are so weird though for like the non-knitter. Like they don't even know what they are. So you have to explain, like it's not a scarf, but it is a scarf. I don't know, it's more than a scarf. I guess it's like an old world type of garment. But anyway, I'm really excited to have this to wear under coats this winter. It is so soft. That's the one thing about handspun yarn, is that nowhere else can I find yarn that is so soft and also with so much structure. Like it's dense. I weighed my garment and it's 366 grams. But I think when I convert the yardage and everything and I map out the total stitches and I calculate how much yarn each person will need, when I do the conversion to a commercial spun yarn, I'm not sure which one I might choose. I might choose a couple because I know I have a few DK weight skeins in my stash. I might use like a medium DK and like a light DK because I think that my yarn kind of fluctuated between like sportish weight and not close to worsted weight, but definitely a DK. I might choose 2 commercial yarns, maybe ones that kind of border both, and I can give kind of an estimated yardage you would need for those types of yarns. I want to make sure that when I design with my hand spun that the yardage estimate is as correct as possible. That is hard to do when you have slightly inconsistent yarn. The density can be a little more here or there. The gauge can be a little more here or there. But I measured my gauge in like every area of this and it was consistent. So math is math. The math will be mathing later on this weekend. And I'd like to put the finishing touches on the pattern this week so that I can put it in testing and send it off to a select group of knitters that are interested in test knitting this design. The few of you that have already signed up in the forum linked below, thank you so much. It brightened my day when I saw that a handful of you were ready to jump into that pool and support me here on my channel, designing things that just bring me so much joy. And I love this. I'm not gonna wear it because it's a little warm. Here in the house, I'm wearing a wool sweater that is, it's a woolen, this is my favorite shirt to ever wear. I don't know if you can hear me when I whisper, but this is from the thrift store. I found it in the men's section. It's some type of like discount store, I'm guessing because the tag is, put a little line through the tag. Anyway, I don't know anything about this sweater except that it had never been washed before. It felt like brand new, never worn. Had the tiniest little hole in the very front that I mended with some cool embroidery thread. I can't even find where it was. And I just roll up the sleeves and it's my favorite. I love these like oversized garments. I don't have it down here. I'll share that next week maybe. But I just love big oversized garments and I love not having to knit them, but I also want to wear what I'm knitting. So I don't know if I'm ready to go down that rabbit hole yet, but let me tell you what I am working on right now. And then I'll show you what I bought at the New York State Sheep and Wool Festival. This morning I finished the shawl I just shared with you. And then I picked up again, sorry, Shippy is sleeping on it. She loves to find my hand knits to snuggle. I picked up my Chained Oblivion, which is a inside out cable cardigan, worked from the bottom up. I think I'm ready to join the sleeves. I measured it to be 10 inches this morning and I need it to be 10¼ inches before I join the sleeves to the body. I'm a little nervous. She said measure it 3 inches below your armpit and that would be the length. I think that's long enough, but I don't know. What if it's not long enough? I always struggle. I shouldn't say that. It can be challenging to know when to finish knitting the body of your sweater because estimating like how deep the yoke will be, I just don't always trust the math and my gauge might be different. I need to probably remeasure my gauge and just double check that I'm like on gauge so that if I need to add more length before joining, I figured that out because once I joined the sleeves to the body, these rows are already really long. And then adding the sleeves, they're gonna be that much longer. So I will be decreasing, but I don't know. I need to put some thought into this and get on track. It's a beautiful cable. I'm obsessed. It's like a 6, is it 6 stitches or 8 stitches? It's a 9 stitch cable, which is very fiddly. I have to look up how to do it each time I do it, but I only have to do it 4 times in a row, and I only have to do it like I have to reference the pattern again, but I think every 8th row. So it's very infrequent. This is not, or it hasn't been, a poor travel pattern, but once I join the sleeves especially, this will not be a travel pattern. This will be a knit at night in bed pattern until it's finished. And I don't have it downstairs, you've seen it before, but I think that my new commuting project will be the hen wife shawl that I've shown you multiple times. And that is also knit with my hand spun. It is very ropey. That is a Cordale yarn, and so it's very medium quality, rustic almost, very smooth, very sturdy, very strong. And I can't wait to wear that. I think that these 2 shawls are gonna be so... Editing Taylor here. I just want to tell you that nobody is hurting Starving Moonchild upstairs. I think she has dementia. And so she screams like that, like all the time. Sometimes like 5 or 6 times in the middle of the night. So I just wanted to let you know, like, she is safe, she is secure, but she is unwell. I don't know. I mean, almost like luxurious. Like, I don't know, it's kind of folky having the variegation because it's like clearly not commercially made. But it's also elegant, and it's also a shawl, so it's kind of like, I don't know what you call a shawl. It just feels a little unconventional, you know? But the other one, it's gonna be beautiful. I can't wait to wear that. I'm gonna take this off again. I don't know why I put it on. What I bought at Rhinebeck. I'll start with the boring stuff. Soak. I can't not, I have to every year. I buy a bottle, I use it up, I need another. That's all I'll say. I got it in the yuzu color shade fragrance. I like it, it's fine. I've had it before, I would buy it again. I wanted Sight Unseen, the Harrisville Designs Rhinebeck 2025 tote bag. I like last year's more, to be honest. Last year's was very light and feminine, and this one feels very stark and sort of high contrast with the bright yellow. I like the yellow. The yellow grabbed me, but it's also very simple. It's just stars. It's not like the same shading type of second screen print, but is that what you call it? I don't know. You have 2 different screen prints that's like the layer with different colors, but I think it's really cool. It's very folk arty. Kind of makes me think of like a block print where they carve into like rubber or whatever, and then you print that way. But anyway, I think it's cool, and it's very big. I am not sure if I'm gonna like use this outside my house because it's so precious to me. I don't want it to get dirty. I'll use it. I will. I'm just gonna give it time. But this is a perfect grocery tote. Like if you needed a grocery tote, it would work. And I got that for free because I did spend $100 on a full sweater quantity of yarn. I saw the price of this and I couldn't pass it up. It was such a deal. And whatever, we go to these yarn festivals to buy sweater quantities. That's what it's for. I don't need one because there's so many that I like really want to knit right now, and I just haven't had the time. But I did not bring home a fleece, but I love to squish and consider bringing home more white fleece. I already have a white fleece I haven't spun, and I want to spin it. I'm going to spin it. That will be my next spinning project, I promise. Or rescouring, honestly, because it still has lanolin in it, I think. So this is a Merino Dorset cross. That is not a blend. It is 2 breeds of sheep bred to make a hybrid sheep. And this is yarn spun from a single farm's wool clip for the season. It's the Merino Dorset. I said that. This wool was raised in Ohio, and spun at Green Mountain Spinner, at Harrisville Designs. And it's woolen. It is lofty, unlike my handspun. I have not mastered that. Well, I never prepare fiber in a woolen method. So I wanted to buy a sweater quantity that is unlike the yarn I spin, because I have intentions to spin more yarn. I've been knitting my handspun. I have intentions of spinning more yarn, and I thought this would really round out what I'm already doing, which is knitting my stash. Number one, I intend to knit my stash. It doesn't help when I bring more in, but this rounds it out. So knitting my stash, spinning my wool stash, also on the horizon. Haven't spun for a while, but I've been knitting my handspun, and I do find that it's hard to do both at the same time. I have a rhythm of spinning a lot and then knitting a lot of my handspun, and then spinning a lot and then knitting a lot of my handspun, because I don't want to keep a large inventory of my handspun, because the quality of it changes with every project, sometimes in the same project, and that's not ideal. Spinning project, that is. So I really want to knit all of the handspun I possibly can, or at least cast it on and have a project going with it before I spin more. And I at least did not bring home any new fiber in all of 2025. The last fleece I bought was in last October at New York Sheep and Wool. So I'm going to mitigate my consumption of fiber, which I did, yay. And yes, I brought home 600 grams of this sheer in the DK. Now, I thought I would be buying the new color that is called Thistle, and that was a heather, light heather gray. What I ended up buying was buttermilk, and that was a choice I made at the checkout counter when I did not correct them and say, that's not what I put on my form. Because as soon as I saw it, I realized this is happening for a reason, and it's because I did read on the website that the Thistle shade is variegated, and you have heard me talk about it plenty of times. Variegated yarn is not my favorite. I would like to avoid it if I can. I prefer solid yarns or heathered yarns, and this is very cream. It's not yellowy cream, but it's not white. It's very cream, and I think it's beautiful, and I think it'll complement my skin tone. I kind of look a little red next to it. It's so yellow, but it's not like the most yellow. It's just very cream. So I have all I could possibly need to knit anything with this base, and I have been storing it in this drawstring bag that I purchased in advance. I'm sure a lot of you know, because the line was much longer than in the past, but there's some merch that you can purchase in advance on their website, and I got this large size drawstring bag with the 2025 image, which I thought was very cute. Got a few stickers just to put on some things here or there. I haven't put any stickers on my water bottle, but this would be a good one to add, so I might do that. I don't have it down here, but I got another hairpin, those gold brass, it's actually brass, it's not gold, but those brass pins that I pin my hair up with. I got another one of those because I like to have them in different areas of my house. I'll have like one in my backpack, one in my project bag, and one in my like vanity area or like skincare closet. So I got one of those. I have lost one before. I think it's probably in a bag somewhere, and that's why I keep buying more, because I can be so willy-nilly with those things. But those, I'll put some B-roll in for you to see what I'm talking about. I love these little hairpins. They never fall out of my hair, and so many other like shawl sticks, they constantly fall out unless it's an actual stick that I've whittled. if it's too polished, it is slippery. But I think the twisted nature of these, they're very grippy. They almost never fall out. They do fall out actually on occasion. The last thing I have to share with you was a splurge. I was going through every barn. Somehow, did I tell you? I forgot if I said this already, but I never found some vendors, but I somehow found Sarah from the formerly known as Fiber Trek YouTube channel. It's now has a new name, and I was just watching it this morning and I can't remember what it is. I'll put it on the screen. I know it has something to do with trees, but it's escaping me right now. I saw Sarah from the internet and she was at the Tidal Yarns booth, and I bought myself a luscious skein from Patricia Fortinsky. It's naturally dyed and locally sourced wool. And I don't know a lot about Patricia. I should check out her socials. But she was a very lovely woman, and Sarah is one of my favorite people. And I saw this, it looked like it was my colors, and so I bought it. She asked what I'm gonna make it into, and I said socks, but I'm not a sock knitter. I felt like I did feel like before I bought a skein I needed to know what I was making it with, and I was touching a pair of lovely socks made with the yarn, and I thought I could do that. I know that I won't, but I could if I wanted to. And then as soon as I got home, I saw the yarn I've been putting on display for months and months and months in one of the baskets in the backdrop of my yarn room. And this is one of 3 skeins from Green Mountain Spinnery. I naturally dyed this with avocado skin and pits. It was much more pink in the past, and it's faded to this cream. It's almost like a butter yellow, like almost bright cream shade, much yellower. They're actually kind of close, but I think when it's not blown out, it's a bit more yellow than cream. And I think that this brown looks really good with the cream. So I'm going to use this as a contrast color with Green Mountain. And it's funny because Sarah was saying, I don't know if this was spun in Green Mountain Spinnery. Maybe it was. I'm gonna find out. Because she had mentioned Green Mountain Spinnery while we were in the booth. And I talked about how I covet my stash of Green Mountain. I have this sweater quantity and another of like 500 grams of fingering weight, or sport, or sock. I think they call this sock weight. So it's like heavy sport. I mean, heavy fingering, not sport. I don't know. It's light sport, heavy fingering. They call it sock. And I'm really excited to knit this. I found online, so there are 2 patterns by Teti Lutsak that I've been wanting to knit. One is the Candelaria Blouse that I plan to knit with some other yarn from my stash I've talked about before. And then there is the Caldelaria Pullover, which is a totally different construction, but a very similar colorwork pattern. And that is lovely. And I have another sweater quantity in my stash that I've picked out to knit that with, that I think will give the right gauge. It's a very fine fingering weight yarn. And then I just discovered a pattern she had come out with, I think in July. I don't know the name of it, but I will put it on the screen, and it is so neat. I love the construction of it, and that is what I intend to knit with these gorgeous yarns. I don't know which of the 3 patterns I intend to knit first, but I did buy all of them at the same time. So I'm definitely knitting all 3 of those patterns by Teti. And I think very, very soon I will need another travel knitting project. So I would like to cast one of them on before I'm finished knitting the Chained Oblivion. There's so much to do. I know that I'm the most excited to knit with this yarn, even though I picked out the other yarn things sooner. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I should just do whatever I want, which is what I'm gonna do. I should just cake up something. Maybe, I'm afraid that if I cast on another project, one of the two I'm working on already will languish, but who knows? It might be a good thing for me to cast on a new project ASAP because I might be more productive if I have something new and fresh. I did just start working on this again, so I feel a lot better about casting on a new project than I did had I not picked this up again and gotten my brain wrapped around it, but I still need to figure out the yoke decreases. So I think what I'm gonna do is devote my weekend to getting on track with this project and have it ready to go at my bedside so that in the evening hours I have this to do. And I think after I've established what I'm doing here over the weekend, before Monday, maybe even, or Monday night potentially, who knows, or maybe next week, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I will cast on a new project, one of Teti's patterns. And I think, obviously, before I cast on any of them, I need to swatch. So I might potentially swatch all three, and then whichever one works out first is the one I'll cast on. I think that sounds like a good idea. Because I'm excited to knit with any of the yarn I've picked out, truly. I just really want to have more of her patterns in my wardrobe. Oh, I just noticed that this matches my pillow. Oh my gosh, so cute. Okay, you know what I've noticed is that I've made a lot of beautiful cardigans and pullovers, and I like to wear all of them. But I like to wear my really basic knits a lot more. I wear this sweater almost every day. I just got a brand new cashmere sweater that is oversized from the thrift store. It's like this bright blue tone pink, which is not like me to wear ever, but it was cashmere, it was big, it was oversized, and it was in perfect condition. So I bought it and I love it. I was actually gonna wear that today, and then I shouldn't tell you this, but you know, Star Baby, she is aging gracefully and she's obsessed with being on my lap. And I don't know why it happened today, but I was like all dressed and ready to record, and out of nowhere, her anal glands expressed right onto my cashmere sweater. And so I took it off, which was easy because it's oversized, and I didn't dab it, I didn't touch it. I brought it to the utility sink in the basement, and I ran it under water in those areas, and it just rinsed right out. And then I put the wool soak on those two, I put a drop on each spot because it was like two distinct drops, and I hand washed that area, and it's now drying. I felt like that was the only thing I could do. I mean, I didn't want to saturate the entire thing because then I felt like the whole sweater would have essence of anal gland juice. I'm really sorry I had to tell you that. I should have kept it to myself, but that's how my morning started. I almost forgot to tell you this. I know some of you love fragrance as much as I do, and I found a new, what could be signature scent. I'm obsessed. I bought this, I think it's 50 ml. I cannot read that. I don't have my glasses. I have new glasses coming. I can't wait to show them to you. You'll know why I'm laughing at myself in a week or two. I don't know what this says, but it's more than the standard travel. Usually travels are like 0.33 fluid ounces. I think this is 0.5 fluid ounces, which is not 50 mils. I'm realizing now. I'll tell you what it is in a second. We were in Beacon, New York on Friday before the festival because I just love that town. There's this gluten-free bakery called Kitchen and Coffee I just adore. And we were walking around town and there's this new, my friend texted me, she said there's this new witch store you should check out. And so we did, and one of the first displays is Heretic fragrance. And I smelled all of them that they had. And I had heard of Dirty Hinoki before. I think that they have it on Scentbird. I have done the Scentbird thing a couple times, but I've heard mixed reviews of that brand or company. But anyway, I'd heard of it. I'd never smelled it. I'd never really seen Heretic on display anywhere. And I wasn't sure that I liked any of the fragrances for me. A lot of them were like too oud. Like I could not even consider wearing them. But this one I thought, oh, I don't really know what to think of it, so I'll wear this one on my wrist and see if I like it. And then we looked through the rest of the store, and then by the time we were ready to leave, I was like, ooh, I love this fragrance on me. I'm gonna buy it. I bought the small bottle. This wasn't cheap. It was $65, which was what I hoped to spend on something at the festival, but I couldn't help myself. It's rare that I ever fall in love with a fragrance at first sniff, which technically I guess I didn't, but first wear, whatever. And I will say this is very bright. It smells like lemon balm. It's very lemon balmy. If you know lemon balm, then that's that. It's not lemon, it's lemon balm. It's very green, and it is also sweet and woody. The Hinoki is like, I think, a Japanese wood. I don't know what kind of wood, but it's not the pencil shavings wood fragrance. It's just a very smooth, kind of grounding fragrance. It's not masculine. I don't know how to describe it, but it's kind of sweet, and it changes a little bit as you wear it. It does wear off quickly. I've sprayed this on myself 4 times today, and I don't know if I'm nose blind to it. I don't know if someone else would smell it on me. I do know though, it smells really good on fabrics. Like if I spray it on my clothes or my woolens, it smells really good. And I just wish that longevity was better. This brand is like entirely cruelty-free. I'm sure it's vegan, and like clean, you know, whatever. So maybe that's why the longevity isn't there. I don't know, but I wish the longevity were there. Although maybe that would change the experience. I don't know. But anyway, I am obsessed. I have, like I said, maybe I've made a huge dent in this, and I've owned it for a week. So not only is this a full bottle worthy fragrance for me, I think I would buy the big one. I think I would bite the bullet and buy the biggest one, just to make it a little more affordable, because I know I'll actually wear it, and I would probably not buy another fragrance for a few years to just wear this one out, because I really love this. This is on the same level for me as like a daily wearable as my Dead Cool Extra Milk, which is another fragrance that I do have in the full size that I wear a lot. And then I don't think that there's one other fragrance that I wear like as a signature scent. Dead Cool's Extra Milk is probably the only one. I do have a couple other fragrances in rotation that I would not call them signature scents, and I would probably not buy again. One of them is Kilian's Angel Share. I do like that fragrance. It's too heavy in the summer or spring. It's definitely a fall winter, but it is not layerable. I accidentally layered it with something and I smelled awful, disgusting, like I needed a shower. Like I couldn't believe I even went to the party I did because I smelled disgusting. Anyway, and then the second is, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I did buy, what is it? Dolce & Gabbana Devotion. I like the fragrance. It's not perfect, but I like it. I love lemon. But it's sweet and kind of vanilla, and I liked it enough to look the other way at Dolce & Gabbana. I thought too the heart, the bottle is just so gaudy and adorable. I couldn't stop myself. So I have a small one of those, probably the same size as this, but different shape. And I also, you know, I don't know why I got this. It was on sale, like buy two or for whatever at Ulta. I got the St. Bart's body spray fragrance from Way. Way is like a hair care line, but they have a hair spray, body spray. And I got that, and I wish I didn't, because it's not me. It's not like who I am. But this, I feel like it really embodies what I want to smell like. So I'm really excited about finding this fragrance, and I was so excited that like the next day on the car ride home, and then the day we got back, I was just obsessed with continuing to research other fragrances by this brand. And I had smelled everything in the store, but I didn't want to wear everything all at once because I wouldn't know what I like. I only wore this. And a lot of the fragrances I said I didn't like, but there are so many more that are like new or limited edition, or they only, I don't know, like not every retailer carries like every product in an entire brand's line of products. So I did pick up, and they won't arrive until Monday, but I did pick up a personalized sampler from the Heretic website, and I also got the Season of the Witch sampler too. So I'm gonna have like 8 or 9 new little fragrance vials, or 2 milliliters, so like enough to wear, you know, but kind of get a sense of if you like it or don't like it. So I got to pick out most of them, and I made sure to not duplicate any of them, so I have unique fragrances to sniff and smell and hopefully not hate, because the last time I bought a sampler I hated everything, and it was kind of a waste of $40. So I don't know, that's the risk you take with samplers. You either love it all or hate it all, and most of the time I hate it all, but I just thought this brand, I was just so grateful that they gave me a fragrance I love so much. Editing Taylor here. They didn't literally give it to me. I realized it might have sounded like that. I paid for this thing that I'm telling you about, but anyway, what I mean is they made it. They made a fragrance I love, and I love that for me. I was willing to give them more money to potentially woo me again, because it was just really fun. And also the brand, it's super goth, and there's no better time of the year to indulge in a little goth than October. So that will be fun. And yeah, this is like the most exciting thing for my weekend, and it wasn't even at Rhinebeck. I did shop the fleeces, and I got to meet a viewer in the wool barn, and I can't remember her name, but I was so excited to meet her. I wish we'd spent more time together. Also met up with Joyce again. Her and I picked out a fleece at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. Or actually, no, we didn't. I think she had fleeces she picked out, and I was like, you got to get this one or that one or whatever. So we were fleece shopping in the past, and then we saw each other again at New York, and she was such a joy to be around. She just glows with excitement and enthusiasm, and she made me cry. She was just so sweet to me. And it's kind of cool when you meet someone who you know you influenced to start spinning, because spinning is such a niche thing, you know, not everyone does it. That's why I'm still here online, because I want to keep preaching the gospel of wool and spinning and knitting garments. I am turning into a bit of a basic bitch, but you know, I still keep it interesting. You know, I might be wearing all gray, but it has something going on. You know, it's not stockinette or brioche for days. It has something happening. Although, you know, whatever. No shade. Look at me. I love basic. Why am I saying this? Anyway, that is it for this week's episode of the Thread to Mend podcast. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you want to find me on social media, my name is TAYLOREOWEN on Ravelry and Instagram. You can find me on TikTok as Taylor Knits. And if you made it this far into this week's video, let me know below with the nose emoji. because I talked a lot about fragrance and no one will know why. It's in the comments. They're gonna be like, what? Anyway, I want to thank you so much for being here. I hope that you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and that you take care.